trying to do a funny scoop. I can't scoop. No? Hi, you're watching... Hi, you're watching Wraptor Customs. This is Project 700 Widebody XF. And in this episode, we're fabricating the wide body. So the paintwork on this is pretty immaculate with the exception of the front bumper, and unfortunately the painters didn't paint it very well because it was brand new. They thought it would be easy, didn't put the prep in, and it's peeled there. Never mind. Apart from that, they did a great job. Since then, 3 years ago, we've got a little stone chip there and a little stone chip here that could be touched in and polished, and that's it. Apart from that, not a mark on the car, not a scratch, nothing, which makes this next bit a bit difficult because I'm about to chop the wheel arches off it and weld some new ones on.
What do you mean you're going to chop? What are you chopping?
Well, see the wheels? Genuine Project 8 wheels, and this is Project 700 Widebody XF.
Lunatic.
Wide body.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we're going to create a true wide body out of metal fabrication, flare the arch into the door. We'll have to modify the seal and bumper just slightly, and then we may flare the front yet. I haven't decided. We'll have to see how it looks with it on.
How wide are the Project 8 alloys?
Wide, 305. That's over a foot wide.
Yeah.
And they're actually quite lightweight for the size of them as well. Let me show you some of the wings and stuff we got. Got a wing there to try. Got some quarter pieces here to try. And rather than trying to roll the existing ones, which just isn't going to give us enough flare, nowhere near for the amount these stick out, try and offer these up and carefully fabricate them on. We're going to TIG weld them rather than MIG weld, so it's a neater finish. There's no splats of weld everywhere. I considered trying to make some from scratch, but it'd end up like a 50p piece and then full of filler. We don't want loads of filler in the car.
You're going to have the studded look, or are you just going to go for like a smooth?
Nah, smooth, true wide body, minimal or no filler. That's the objective.
Beast mode.
So we got this gradual flare out on here. So this was the kind of style of arch we were after. In the end, we come up with these because they measure up approximately the same size, the right amount of flare and the smooth flare. You notice there's no crease here, yeah? So it's going to be a nice, gradual, smooth transition into sort of flared wheel arch. My only concern is, if you see that distance there, that's 35mm. This one is 25, so I don't know if that'll look right. I don't know if we'll have to add a bit here, or whether we'll have to also put some flared ones on the front to match, or whether it will just look right just with the back done. So absolutely spotless, looked after.
And how long is this project going to take? This Project 700 Lunatic?
20 minutes ideally. But I don't know, it might take more like 20 days. All this lovely paint.
It'll be the first of its kind.
I'm about to scuff it all off. Do you think I'm mad?
Yeah, you've got disaster written all over you, but I know that you're going to pull it off.
Yeah, thank you, mate. That gives me confidence. Right, now let's get on and ruin the car.
Wait.
Here we have our top bloke removing the old decals. Better than I imagined. Oh dear. So I've put some vinyl wrap just over our custom rear wheel arch fender, mainly to protect it from the rain. Actually, it's not being driven, the car, but it can't live in the workshop the whole time. It has to go outside sometimes. But that's also given us a bit of a better idea of how it's going to look, and quite happy with the back end so far. It does obviously need a bit of finishing. We plan to flare the front wing as well. However, looking at the lines of it now, I really don't think it needs it. I mean, it's got a nice bulge on the wing anyway from factory, and then the back kind of ties in with it quite nicely. The only thing I don't like, it is small, but I notice it, is the distance from here to here is 35 millimeters, and the distance from here to here on our donor arches is 25 millimeters. Now there's kind of a little bulge going on there. It's not the best stamping, to be honest with you, so we could build this up with a product like a lead or a fiberglass or a tough filler, but really I wanted it all metalwork, not too much sort of sloppy product in there. Or of course we try and make the front 25 mil as well. So I've got a couple of options of either welding an additional lip on here and then trying to smooth that into it, or maybe even cutting some of this away to a smaller diameter, which I'm leaning towards, to be honest. Although chopping the front wings and respraying them isn't mandatory, I think that's what we're going to do. Right, I've got my wheel arch extension strip cut out ready. I'm going to try and TIG weld this as in line, as neatly as possible in place. I may have to do some relief cuts to get it to sit where I want, which I don't really want to have to do, but we may have to, so we'll just see how it goes really. This front wheel arch is looking much better, much more uniform to the rear now. It really didn't need much or any additional flare on the front, but it was this profile here I just didn't like. The original one is 35 mil, the new one off the donor rear arch is a 25 mil. So we've done the same here, we've now got a 25 mil sort of profile here on this arch, and in turn we've come out but only 7 millimeters, so just a small amount. There's actually a bit of a recess here, which is where I've welded it, so that should be quite nice. I'm not going to take too much material off this. I'm going to leave this for the body man to linish down as little as required, so then that recess will be full of metal rather than body filler, you know. And we've now got this previous line carrying on down to the bumper, which obviously doesn't tie up with this anymore. So we're going to sand this smooth and then create a little additional wheel arch spat here, and we're going to get that made in carbon fibre thanks to high carbon. Toying with the idea of actually going into a little aero fin here. The original plan was to come down here, but I'll have a play and see what I can make. Then we'll hand over to Hai. He can make a mould of it and then make it out of real carbon fibre. I can't decide if this is looking any good. It's hard to tell when they're all multicolours and welds and sanding marks and stuff. That's some sort of what I'm playing with as a wheel arch extension. That's a different profile to what that was, so I sanded that swage line away. I'm just trying to make a piece. I want a bit like a canard type thing. I'm trying to follow the lines of the car. I just can't tell if it's, you know, gonna look nice or whether it's too max power. Maybe with it all painted and then that exposed carbon so it's dark like those bits, or even painted blue but really light so the carbon weave still comes through. It's hard to tell with it not looking all uniform. Don't know. Nice, shiny, immaculate paintwork. What a lovely car. You can tell it's clearly looked after, and oh